Ladies and gentlemen, would you please rise for the playing of
the Sibling Rivalry Baseball Podcast
with your host, the 2023 IBWAA Podcast Host of the Year, Jana, and her big brother, Jeff. Sibling Rivalry Baseball Podcast, ready for the AllSTar game. We need a little bit of that because lots of questions revolving around, well, not so much one team, but a lot of questions around the other team. One team, they're just still in their process. That'll be the easy way to put it. We'll get to them in a little bit. We're going to talk AllSTar game. We've got the full rosters. We know, who the pitchers are going to be. We don't know who the starters are yet, but we got to wait for Bruce Bochy and Rob Thompson.
Yes.
No. Who was the National League? The
Phillies?
Phillies?
Was the National League? It was the Phillies, or was it the Diamondbacks? No, I forgot.
Did the Rangers beat the Diamondbacks?
I think.
Oh, okay. So it'll be.
And we call ourselves a baseball.
Torey Lovello.
Podcast.
Yeah. All of a sudden, I just kind of thought, Torey Lovello will be the. So it's up to those guys.
Yeah.
You're right. I'd forgotten about the Diamondbacks, just because the Diamondbacks don't look the same team this year.
Right. Yeah. No. It will be Torey Lovello.
Torey Lovello and Bruce Bochy. So we'll get that closer in. Of course, we won't be on next week because of that, and so we will just be because we will be in Arlington.
Yeah, but we'll have a lot of social media posts. We're gonna put it all out there.
You're the social media director. I'll just take your word for it. What is what Dad always said? I just drive the bus.
That's it.
So anyway, so look for all of that, and we'll. In fact, speaking of social media, find us on our Twitter at SiblingRivalryBB without the A,
and on Facebook and Instagram at SiblingRivalryBB with the A. And
then you can get to our website at SiblingRivalryBB.com. Check out the Fanatics link. Some interesting. The National League actually doesn't look that bad as far as their uniforms. The American League is a train wreck.
We'll talk about that in Around Baseball.
Yep, yeah. They're pretty wrong. So we'll talk about that coming up, but you can get all of that stuff there, as well as gear from your favorite teams, and you can get AllSTar jerseys from your favorite players from your favorite teams. All right, so let's dive in to what's going on in the Ravine.
It's time for Dodger baseball.
I think the sky really is falling in the Ravine. A sinkhole is forming in the Ravine.
It's definitely, here's the problem. This team went out and on a handful of players spent over what will end up costing them over $1 billion over various portions of 10 years. Right. By the end of 10 years, $1 billion, 700 of it all for Shohei. Now, Shohei's been, for the most part, keeping up his end of the bargain. Mm-hmm. He's been but I think he's being affected by whatever else is going on in that clubhouse, because even he's been having issues, striking out more often, and that he'll come back around, but there's definitely a lot of stuff going on in Dodger Town, and there's just you sent me a text with a tweet where somebody said, who said at the beginning of every season, we've got plenty of pitching, and then it falls all apart, and we're like midway through the season. We're a little over halfway through the season, and right now they don't look like they could contend to get out of the American League Central, let alone the National League West. And they have a 7.5 game lead right now.
I know, which is crazy because the way they've been playing has been not great. They lost a series to Arizona. And then Milwaukee came in. But even in this, like, they had a close game. They won that first game against Arizona. It was 6-5, but they did it in the 9th inning. So they're not running away with games. A lot of their games, especially lately, have been within a run of each, and it does make the games exciting. However, you would think that with a lineup like the Dodgers have, that they would be running away with some games, and they're not. And a lot of that has to do with pitching. They have no pitching. It's just obsolete. And a lot of people are like, well, Shohei, he's not pitching. Well, we know why he's not pitching, because he had surgery. But he's a DH, and as you mentioned, he, I think, has been holding up his end of the bargain. But there have been times where he has slumped. Then you have a guy like Will Smith, who was slumping, but now seems to be coming back. But I think a good example is looking at the first game. Bobby Miller pitched in that game. This was his second start coming off of the IL. He did pitch 5 innings. He gave up 4 hits, 2 runs, walked 3, had 4 strikeouts. Out of his games that he has pitched coming off of the IL, this was probably his best game, and it's not a great game. And and we aren't going to be on, we'll be in Arlington next week. So Bobby Miller pitched against the Phillies. The Dodgers lost that game 10-1, and Bobby Miller has been optioned to Oklahoma City, which is where he should be. But now,
I think we put too much faith that he was going to come back and be the same guy.
Exactly. It's like he's learning how to pitch.
Right. And in some ways, he probably is coming off of that shoulder thing, how to actually throw it, but he keeps wanting to overthrow. That's what everybody I hear in the Dodger system says. Mm-hmm. He wants to overthrow. He's not stepping back and saying, like Walker Buehler said, I have to regain. It's not that I got to regain, some things, but I got to relearn how to pitch with the intensity, things like that. Bobby Miller is going out there and trying to overthrow everything. And all that's going to do is put him back on the injured list.
Right. And they say that the shoulder's fine. He says the shoulder's fine. The team says the shoulder's fine. He's going to Oklahoma City. He's going to work with the player development, and they don't know when he'll be back. Walker Buehler, I'm glad you brought him up. He is also on the IL with a hip. I don't know, like if he had like a contusion, something, got hit by a ball, but he is not with the Dodgers right now. He's in Florida at like a pitching academy, trying to regain all of that stuff that he, I guess, has lost. Which is
well, he has to relearn how to pitch. His fastball is not nearly what it used to be.
Right.
So he has to relearn how to pitch. He's got to become, these guys have to figure out at whatever point that they can no longer throw nearly 100 miles an hour, how to pitch like Greg Maddux.
Mm-hmm.
And guys in that time frame that were finesse pitchers, and learn how to do that and, throw a power slider every once in a while, but then also be able to learn how to throw pitches and not just throw hard, but actually be a craftsman.
Right. Yeah. So the Dodgers are faced with Gavin Stone, who has been good, but in the series against Arizona, only pitched 3 innings, gave up 7 hits and 4 runs, 3 walks, 3 strikeouts, and a home run. So now he has moved up to the top because guess what? Tyler Glass now is on the IL with a back tightness. Hopefully, they're hoping, and it looks like with the rest, that he will be back after the AllSTar break. Obviously, he hasn't ever pitched, and this has been a big thing, is he's never pitched this many innings in his career before. So is that, his body's just like, whoa. What are you doing?
Right, because he's not ever conditioned himself for, his part of 162 games looks like.
Right.
And that's part of the problem. Just like we talk about how, like, rookies, when they come up, a lot of times they're out of the gate, they're great in the first half, and then they fall off in the second half. It's because they've played more games than they ever did. Nolan Shanuel from the Angels said that he spent time just standing up for hours and hours at a time, because that's what it takes. You got to stand out there at first base for hours at a time.
Mm-hmm.
A game is about 3 hours. You got to be up there and on your feet all that time. Guys aren't necessarily used to that.
Yeah.
So
you're looking at the Dodgers with Gavin Stone and now Landon Knack, who came in, and now he's pretty much going to be there for a while.
And probably now I'm guessing the kid who started the Sunday game versus Milwaukee.
Yeah.
Warbolowski or something like that. What's his name?
Justin Warbolewski.
Warbolewski. I'm sure they're going to have to keep him around now that Glasnow's gone.
Exactly. And, in Milwaukee, in the series against Milwaukee, they won that series. They lost the Sunday game this was his major league debut. And he went 5 innings, gave up 5 hits, 4 runs. But I felt like when I was watching that game that it was the B team. It had nothing to do with him making his major league debut. It just felt like Smith was 0 for 4. Freeman had a hit. Shohei had a hit. But in total in that game, 7 hits total in the Sunday game against Milwaukee. I'm going to go back to Arizona series. Christian Walker, I wonder if he put on a Dodger uniform, would he hit that many home runs for the Dodgers, or is it just that he loves hitting against the Dodgers in Dodger Stadium? He hit on the second game where the D-backs won 12-4. Christian Walker hit number 16 and 17 home run, number 16th and his 17th home run. The next night, in a 9-3 win for the D-backs, he hit number 18 and number 19.
So back-to-back multi-homer games.
Yeah. Dodgers had 6 hits in that last game against the D-backs, 12 strikeouts. And Zach Gallen only pitched 4 innings. So
yeah, Zach Gallen, like you said, 4, gave up the 3 runs, only struck out 4. Only threw he threw 85 pitches over that time frame. So he expended a lot of energy.
Mm-hmm.
They still really couldn't get to him or to anybody else.
I think this is interesting too. The Dodgers are 4-5 versus the D-backs this season. And they shouldn't be.
No.
But they are. That's where they're at.
But that part of that is, it wouldn't be such a big deal that they lost this if it didn't seem like that they were completely crumbling.
Yes.
At everything. The pitching staff is gone.
Well,
and now you're having to depend upon bullpen parts.
Right.
And like you mentioned on one of those games, the game with Zach Gallen pitched against them that Landon Knack started, Nick Ramirez comes out of the bullpen, gives up 4 runs.
Right.
Over 2 innings.
Yep.
That's not going to be helpful when you're trying to keep, I wouldn't be surprised if, because so many people are on the IL,
mm-hmm.
that you come out of the break, Sure, they're going to get a break, but they're still going to be on the IL for a while. And if San Diego continues to play at the rate they were or are, that they might overtake the Dodgers.
Yeah.
And
I
the
I
only
just
thing you hope for is that everybody comes back off of the IL
Mm.
at a time frame that gives them enough time to ramp back up and then be ready, get warm during September and hot into October.
Yeah. And one of the guys that we really need who has gone in and taken up innings is Ryan Yarbrough, and he has not looked good the last couple of times, that I've seen him. He pitched against Arizona for 2 2/3 innings, gave up 2 hits, 2 runs, gave up a home run, pitched against in the Sunday game against Milwaukee, 2 innings, gave up 4 hits, 3 runs, and a home run. And it just, like I said, the Dodgers just look flat to me. And there were good things that happened. I mean, against Milwaukee, Will Smith, he's the 4th catcher in Dodgers history to have a 3 home run game, the first of his career. The other Dodgers that he is in league with, Yasmani Grandal, Mike Piazza, and Roy Campanella.
He's not in Roy Campanella's league.
He's not.
The others he is, but
yeah,
not
but
Roy.
on the same list. How about that?
Gotcha.
It was Shohei Ohtani's 30th birthday. He went 0 for 5, so I'm guessing too much cake there. And Glasnow pitched in this inning, and he did pitch 6 innings, and he still gave everybody jumbo jacks. So he's still doing it, but he is getting to the point where when you were like, "Oh, it's Glasnow's pitching. I want to watch this," because of the way he was pitching at the beginning of the season, and now it's almost like it's become a grind. He gave up a grand slam to Rhys Hoskins in that game.
Mhm.
In the second game, the Dodgers win the second game of the Milwaukee series. Will Smith, first LA player to homer in 4 consecutive at-bats in a decade. This was a good game. I mean, they tied it up. It was back and forth. Miguel Vargas had a pinch hit home run, and then Shohei hit a home run in the bottom of the 8th to go up 5-3, which was the final score. Shohei Ohtani became the 3rd MLB player since 1909 with a home run, a triple, a walk, hit by pitch, and a stolen base in a game. The last player to do this was Christian Yelich in 2019. The last Dodger to do this, Jackie Robinson, July 16th, 1953.
Wow.
Yeah. So there are some good things happening, but on Sunday's game, the Dodgers lose, and it's Dallas Keuchel is pitching.
Right.
And he only pitched 4 1/3 innings, but they couldn't. I mean, he didn't even have, and he had no strikeouts, but they just couldn't move anybody. And it was, they just look flat to me. They look uncomfortable. They look like we know something's wrong. They're just, they just all need a break. And maybe that's what it is. I know it's a grind. It's 162 games. However, what is happening? And then I'm like, why are we looking for outfielders? And then I watch the games, and then I'm like, oh, that's why we're looking for outfielders. Andy Pages has been good. Often he can hit right and left, and he's had some good hits offensively, and had some good plays defensively, but not. He's not a great outfielder. And then you have Teoscar Hernandez, who's good. And then they have Miguel Vargas out there, who has been good. He's been learning because he was, as an infielder. But I feel like the Dodgers need to start over.
Okay.
And
So where
But
do
I
you
don't-
start over from?
well, first they have to have pitching, and I think that is. I think they put too much stock into we're going to get Walker Buehler back. We have Bobby Miller. We've got Yamamoto, who I believe is going to start a throwing program sometime this week, is what I had heard. Kershaw, he's going to be back at some point. We've got Glass now. And
Right.
I think that they were relying on, we're going to get Clayton back. We're going to get Walker back. We're going to, we've got Yamamoto, and not thinking that there would be an injury for Yamamoto, and that he's going to be out longer than what they expected.
Right.
And so I don't think that they put enough. They didn't look at the pitching staff and think, and they have James Paxton. I did forget about him. And he's had his moments, but he's more of an innings eater more than anything. So they have to revamp their pitching. They have to figure it out, because you can't win games, any game, regular season, postseason, without good pitching.
And
You just can't.
if the worse or the shorter the outings and the low quality outings with your starters is going to put more stress on your bullpen,
Right.
which then the bullpen breaks down, and now you've got extra problems.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
offense, like you said, on the Sunday game, you felt like it was the B team, yet you had like 4 of the 6 AllStars.
I know.
out there. You had,
And that's what was sad.
and just to go over that, we know Shohei was elected. And then on Sunday, we found out that Freddie, Mookie, Will Smith, Teoscar Hernandez, and Tyler Glasnow were all named to the All-Star team. So
Mhm.
now we know Tyler Glasnow is not going to participate. We knew Mookie wasn't going to participate. So, but these guys are not. It didn't feel like there was a team full of all-stars, or that this team had a bunch of all-stars on it.
Right. Yeah. They just seem flat. They just don't look like they're enjoying playing baseball. They just don't.
Well, maybe they aren't.
Well, and so I feel like Dave Roberts is a good manager. He, as far as the people side, good relationships, good rapport with the players.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think he always manages the bullpen well. We've known that for a long, long time.
Right.
And I don't think he is doing a great job with the lineup as far as the batting order, because every once in a while, and he did it again in yesterday's game, I guess, against the Phillies, Teoscar Hernandez he should never bat second. He just doesn't do well when he bats second.
Mm-hmm.
And so why are you putting him in that position?
Why? He went 1 for 4.
I know, but I'm just.
Who else?
He
Look at what you have available and tell me
know.
who you put in number 2. Now, Will Smith seemed to hit okay in the number 2 spot. I think he was in the number 2 spot when he hit his 3 home runs the other day.
Yeah, but so I would either say I don't put Teoscar there. I would put Freddie or Will there every time. You're not going to move up somebody like Gavin Lux or, Chris Taylor, whoever's going to be playing, Miguel Rojas. They're just
what about
not.
Vargas?
Yeah, I possibly. I mean, he's been hitting really well. But I think I don't know. I just am flustered in frustrated because and this was my concern. As much as I was excited about Shohei signing with the Dodgers, but then my fear was if they don't win, then the Dodgers have always been this way. Nobody likes the Dodgers. I mean, obviously the fans like the Dodger fans like the Dodgers most of the time. But they're just, they're going to have, they always are going to have the stigma. If they don't win this year, then there's a huge cloud over their head. A lot more pressure on all of them. And I wonder if that's what I'm seeing, is they feel this pressure that they have to win. I'm not saying every single game, but that is your goal, is to win every game you play.
Right. You want to go out there and try to win every single game. I don't know. I'm trying to figure out where this pressure is self-induced, because
Right.
they're not, they're going to win the games. They're 7.5 games up. They were playing well. Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Now part of their problem is that they've got a lot of injuries.
A lot. I mean, they have an all-star team on the injured list.
Right. And that's something that people don't want to, if you looked at the Pittsburgh Pirates and you said, geez, why are they losing so much? And then you looked and saw that on the injured list, all of their top players are out, or their rotation is all on the injured list. Then you'd say, oh, I get it. Oh, okay, well, that's too bad. With the Dodgers, the idea is, oh, you spent all that money and now these top guys, your number ones, are all out. I thought you have spent enough money to have backup. You have no depth.
Right.
Now, that's the problem. Well,
Mm-hmm.
Guess what? We're still early enough.
Mm-hmm.
They're still ahead enough until we get people back, or until people come back off of the IL. You're not going to know how it's going to play out. And honestly, all they have to do is get into the playoffs.
Right.
Whether they can win when they're there, that's a whole different story.
Exactly.
But for now, it does look like, but think about what we just talked about. They had 2 series. They lost one, they won one. They were 500 for the week. It's not that bad. Did they look bad? Did they have things happen that look like the end of the world, like signs of the apocalypse? Absolutely they did. But like you said, it's break time. Come up this weekend. Last game's on Sunday. Everybody who's not an all-star or participating in the all-star festivities, they're going wherever. They're going home. They're chilling out, maybe to the beach. Who knows? They're going to spend some extra time with the kids, get refreshed, and then they'll be back at it the next Friday.
Well, I like that you brought that up, because I work in a school, and you can always tell as it gets closer to Thanksgiving break, Christmas break, people are dragging. The students are kind of dragging. The faculty is dragging, because you've gone all this way and a break is coming up. And then you recharge, you come back, and then you're like, I'm good, for the next semester. And I think that's is what I am seeing with the Dodgers. I will say the Dodger Stadium crowd, they pack them in there, but they got to do better. I've been watching other teams and their fans. This is to the Phillies, and they're engaged in the game. I'm not saying that all Dodger fans are not engaged in the game, but there's a difference when you're watching other teams' fans and how they get into the game, and they find something to constantly be involved in the game. Yeah. Whereas, if something's happening at Dodger Stadium, it's quiet. It'll be really quiet there. And that happens at other stadiums too. But I just feel like maybe the fans need to be more, not just waiting for Shohei to hit a home run, but just be involved more. Cheer louder. Be involved in the game.
Well, that's not going to happen.
I know.
Because this is LA. This is the way they are.
They've always been that way.
We already talked about the Dodgers, playing the Phillies this week. They still have another game today with them. And then they head to Detroit, where I believe they're going to get to meet up with the one of Detroit's All-Stars, pitcher Tarek Skubal, who would be a great guy to try to go get on, in a trade.
Yeah.
And to me, if you're going to be accused of, playing checkbook baseball, then go out and see what you can do to get the 2 or 3 best other guys that are out there. Go get Garrett Crochet, an All-Star. Go get Tarek Skubal, an All-Star. Go get those guys. Put them on your roster, and then it doesn't matter. So when those other guys come back, you don't care if Bobby Miller comes back then.
Right, yeah.
All you want is Gavin Stone to stay with what he's been doing.
You're right.
And you want Tyler Glasnow to come back strong. You want Yamamoto to come back.
Mm-hmm.
And then even Paxton, as your number 5. Mm-hmm. You get those guys in there and have those other guys. If you're going to spend the money, then go ahead and do it.
Yeah. Well, I've heard that the Dodgers did approach the White Sox about Garrett Crochet, and I don't know what the White Sox wanted or if it even got that far, if they were just like, no, we're not parting with him. But now that it's getting closer to the trade deadline, we're hearing more teams or more rumors of, that the Rangers would be willing to part with Michael Lorenzen or Max Scherzer. Dodgers want no part of Max Scherzer. We already had that experiment. Kirby Yates. And then the Blue Jays may be willing to part, so who
right.
do they have? But
well, you got to watch all of those things and know that they are things are going to change after the All-Star break.
Yes.
So we'll see if somebody comes out hot out of the All-Star break that we thought were going to be sellers, and they think, oh no, we have a chance. Then that flips it, and a lot of guys that you thought might be available no longer available.
Right.
And then these other teams might just completely fall off the side of the earth. And or over the edge of the flat earth, I guess.
If you're flat.
And that's the end of and they'll sell off whoever, whatever. That will be that'll be a question for that.
Yeah, so, it'll be interesting to see what the Dodgers do, because the Dodgers you have to get people who are pitching well now. You don't need another project. The team needs good pitching. Max Muncy looked like he was on his way back. He has that oblique injury. He's on the 60-day IL, he's been shut down from hitting. I think that too is that's a big hit for the Dodgers, because Max has looked good defensively and offensively. He looked good. We need Max back in the lineup. And Joe Kelly isn't going to return until after the All-Star break, but it looks like he's going to be making some more rehab starts in Oklahoma City. Clayton Kershaw is expected to pitch on Saturday in Oklahoma City for at least 3 innings.
All right. Any players of the week for you this week, or
Will Smith?
Will Smith? That's a fair one. I have none. Will Smith would have been a good choice though too if I had. I just was like, no. That was the end of it right there. All right.
I went with Will Smith just because.
Yeah, I mean that
home
game
runs
alone, just like if you pitched a no-hitter, you're going to get the player of the week,
right?
Stuff like that. So, it's going to come back around, but we're just at that spot that halfway through the season, they're a little gassed, and hopefully some things will change. We'll also see as we get closer. Who will get DFA'd? Kevin Biggio, is he on his way out the door? Things like that. So next week, like I said, we're not going to be here because we're going to be doing that at the AllSTar game. And, after the AllSTar game, then we'll start talking more about other things that we're seeing and maybe come up with some guys we think would be good trades. The problem is not really knowing who the Dodgers value most in their farm system.
Right.
But a couple of people have come out that are kind of Dodger experts that are saying that they're pretty sure that Lux will be one guy who won't be a Dodger by the end of July, just because they're going to be able to get something for him that's worth.
And I think a change of scenery would be good for all of us.
Last week we were talking about how the Angels are growing and how they're doing. And then we said, based on their week, it looks like maybe things that were happening, they took a step forward. Well, what happens with teams that aren't really ready to be winners, that are still working on those things? They take a couple steps back. And really what the Angels did this week was they took the prior week where they were 5-1 and flipped it and were 1-5. The Oakland A's, they went up to Oakland. The Oakland A's repaid the favor and swept the Angels in all 3 games. The Angels were, overall pretty anemic. They scored, 5 runs in the first game and then were shut out in the next 2. Really nothing to talk about on any of those. They didn't look good. The A's looked great, for that particular deal. And they kind of they undid everything that they had done in like the standings and all of that. They dropped as many games as they had won. So it just evened out. They're a less than 500 team. We know they're still working their way through. We've been talking about that. But losing to the A's like that and getting swept, that after sweeping them, of course, Mason Miller, all-star from the A's, and probably a guy that you might see move as a closer to somebody, to a contender. He had his way with them. Angels hit the road, go to Chicago, where they lose 2 of 3 there, but they did win 1 game. And that's the game we'll talk about. That's our spotlight game.
Ooh, I like that.
For the week. The only one where they really played well, because you figure first game that they played in Chicago, they didn't get shut out, but they got beat 5-1 again. Only 2 hits in that first game. Not good. And then in the final game, they got shut out again. 5-0. Only 3 hits on that.
Yes.
But in the middle game, they were able to shut down the Cubs, and the Angels' sole representative to the All-Star game, Tyler Anderson, pitched really well. Picks up the win and shut them down. 8 innings, 3 hits, 10 strikeouts. And then Ben Joyce, who, this is the thing that people like Bobby Miller need to figure out. Ben Joyce wants to throw 105 miles an hour just to 2 seasons ago. Ben Joyce now is figuring out how to pitch, and he's figuring out how to use his pitches better and not just try to overpower everybody. And he has been seeing some great success. So he picks up, he gives up 1 hit, strikes out 2 in the final inning, and they're able to walk away with a 7-0 shutout. Multi-hit games, and I gotta go look. How do I say this guy's name? Guy that the Angels picked up. He's from he's actually from the same area that Tyler Glasnow comes from, Valencia, Santa Clarita area, and Hira, Keston Hira.
Yeah.
They picked him up, and he's been playing okay. He had a couple of hits in that game, along with Sean Ewell and Logan O'Hoppe. Logan O'Hoppe, he's becoming the more consistent guy. Zetto has his moments, and then he kind of regresses. Adele with the home run in that game. So overall, they put it together and look good. Two errors by the Cubs also helped them out, but yeah, that was it. They did it all at one time, but they're not able to find their way. They couldn't get people on base. They don't know how to hit in different situations. And I think the last time I saw Ron Washington, he'd aged. He's 71. He looked like he was about 86. He's
That
just
happens.
He's trying to get it all there. I applaud his efforts, but these guys got to continue to play well, and it doesn't matter what he puts into, who he puts on the field if they're not willing to get things done. So that was their week, but there were some things of note. We talked about one big thing. Tyler Anderson is the All-Star representative, and he deserves that. Kevin Pillar hit his 10-year mark. And that is very important for a couple of reasons. Now he can draw a pension.
Right. And I've heard that people are saying that he will probably retire after this season.
He said it.
And he said
He came out and said, I'm going to retire after this season. The other cool thing about hitting 10 years, he's not going to be in the Hall of Fame, but he will be on the ballot once he hits that 5-year mark after retirement.
Right.
Because you have to have 10 years of service for that and to be on the Hall of Fame ballot. So he will be on both of those. So, that's important for them. That's I think I read only like 7% of all major league players ever make it to 10 years.
Wow.
Yeah, that's pretty incredible when you think about it. And how many players have you seen come through different teams that it seemed like, oh, okay, that's guy's interesting. All of a sudden they're gone, and you didn't even realize they were gone.
Yeah, that's true.
And then finally, I had said we weren't sure when he was coming back, but I had overlooked that they had said on the 8th, Anthony Rendon's coming back.
That's right.
And, he came back. Angels playing the Rangers and then Seattle. In their final homestand games prior to the All-Star game. So Anthony Rendon came out, had a hit, looked over, saw him. He didn't look that rusty. And I know that Ron Washington wanted him to go do a rehab assignment, but apparently the player has to agree. So he, instead of going on the road to Chicago with them, he stayed back in Anaheim and hit live pitching, taking ground balls, and he looked okay. He didn't look like he was having issues. Hopefully that'll go. And he still sounds like he has the right mental attitude. He doesn't have that, like last year.
Right. Yeah.
So we'll see. And then Mike Trout is still making progress, but he's going to be, later in July or August before we see him.
Yeah, I did see that he's jogging on the field. He's hitting some soft toss and then batting practice here in a few days. So that's good. And we should also congratulate his family. They just had a baby boy.
Oh, yeah. I didn't even know.
like June 30th, but they just announced it.
Right.
So,
Well, it's just funny. I didn't even know about that with them. And until you sent me something the other day, until you mentioned it, I didn't even know that. And you mentioned it on the show about Justin Turner and his wife, but I didn't even know that they'd already had the kid. And you had sent me some about a post with that. So congratulations to one of our favorite all-time Dodgers and JT.
Yeah.
So really, this break is coming. Good time with the Angels. Like I said, they're going to finish up with 2 series versus their AL West foes. We'll see how that plays out, and we'll talk about that in weeks to come, as we kind of do like a little synopsis, since, like I said, we're not going to be in next week. And, hopefully when they come back, they're not a contender, and I hope that even if they come out hot, they don't all of a sudden go, ooh, look at this. No, make changes. Look to the future is what the Angels have to do.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting that, and I think we've kind of heard this. I think you've mentioned it. Tyler Anderson had that really good game against the Cubs on Saturday, where he pitched the 8 innings, and then all of a sudden he's probably going to be traded. And I've also heard that the Angels and the Pirates have possible trade, and the Pirates would be getting Taylor Ward. But I don't know who the Angels would be getting. I don't know that part of it.
Pretty sure his name's not Paul Scanes.
I'm pretty sure that's not happening.
But yeah, if you could get something good out of that, I could see Taylor in Pittsburgh.
Yeah. So just a little tidbit there. It says that Pittsburgh is actively trying to get the deal going. And as we know with the Angels and Artie, that can be hard.
But at least it's not trying to do it with the Dodgers, who he will automatically say no to.
Right.
And then the one thing, too, you got to remember is that we've got, during All-Star Week, they also have the draft.
Yes.
So there can be things, and now the teams can trade draft picks to some extent. So maybe while they're there doing drafts, GMs can be talking and make something happen. I know you don't want to lose a player like Taylor Ward, but if you can get some decent prospects out of it to help build your team, you got to do what you got to do. Somebody painted the bullpen card in All-Star Game regalia.
Ooh.
And luckily they used the National League vibe instead of the American League vibe. And we'll have a fashion report coming up here in Around Baseball. But let's hop in the bullpen cart and just zoom around and see what's happening.
Sounds good. All right, well, let's look at the MLB Players of the Week. Jose Miranda of the Minnesota Twins is the American League Player of the Week. He had a 700 average.
Wow.
And he tied the record with a hit in 12 straight at-bats.
That'll help you have a 700.
Yeah.
700 batting average.
And then the National League Player of the Week out of Colorado, Brenton Doyle of the Colorado Rockies. And if you haven't watched the Rockies, he's got some good defense in the outfield. But this week, 524 batting average, 4 home runs, 4 doubles, and 9 RBI. So a bright spot for the Rockies.
Nice.
And I thought this was interesting that I think the Pirates were playing the Mets. And when the Pittsburgh Pirates, when a player hits a home run, they shoot off fireworks. Well, they ran out of fireworks because the Pirates hit 7 home runs in one game. That hadn't happened.
Wow.
Because they hadn't hit more than 5 home runs in a game since 1947.
Wow. That's a long way. I guess I could figure, we're not going to need that many. They don't hit a lot of home runs.
Yeah. So they were maybe, saving.
Sorry,
gimping.
the fireworks on back order.
That's right. And then you mentioned Paul Skeens. He is the only pitcher in MLB history to strike out 70 plus batters through his first 9 career starts while allowing less than 14 runs. So he's making the most of being just a pitcher regardless. I know when he was drafted by the Pirates, a lot of people were like, what? A pitcher of the caliber of Paul Skeens is going to Pittsburgh? But he's loving it there, and he's doing great. So,
well, where else would he go? Pittsburgh had a high draft pick.
Right. But don't you remember there was some, so anyway.
And he wanted to be a two-way player. Started, but he realized that wasn't for him.
That's right. And on July 5th, there were 4 hit games, a multi-home run games, and grand slams by 5 players on July 5th. And
5 on 5.
6 players had 4 hit games, and 5 players had multi-home run games on July 5th. This is the first time ever that there were at least 5 of each in the same day.
Wow.
So,
ever. You would think at some point in the history that might have happened. That's crazy.
Yeah. That
was a good day to be watching baseball.
Yeah.
That's what MLB wants. They want all that kind of action.
Mm-hmm.
Well, make sure we can all see it.
Right. No blackouts. Because I mean, I guess it didn't really matter. I didn't miss anything against the Diamondbacks, but I was blacked out. We do have the AllSTar pitchers. We talked about who was voted in last week, the players. Tyler Glasnow, you mentioned in the Dodger segment, is an AllStar. However, he's not going to be there. He's on the IL. So Hunter Green of the Cincinnati Reds will take his spot. Ryan Helsley of the Cardinals. Jeff Hoffman of the Phillies. Shota, I can never say his name. Mike
Imanaga.
Shota.
You want?
But he
Mike
goes
now?
by Mike. Well, he does. He just goes by
really?
Mike because when he goes to like Starbucks or they never can put his. So he just tells him his name is Mike. So on his locker, it says Mike, and then his last name,
Imanaga.
the second Imanaga, but the second.
Oh, the second. He's Mike Imanaga the second. Okay.
Yes.
Funny.
And I got to practice that. Ronaldo Lopez of Atlanta, Chris Sale of Atlanta, Tanner Scott of the Marlins, Matt Strom of the Phillies, Ranger Suarez of the Phillies, Zach Wheeler of the Phillies, Logan Webb, San Francisco, Robert Suarez of San Diego, and no surprise here, Paul Skeens. He is the only first overall pick in MLB history to become an All-Star the following season.
Oh, wow. Nice.
And there are 13 pitchers and 10. It will be their first time in the All-Star game. Tyler Glasnow also, this would have been his first trip, but he's on the IL.
Right. So no.
In the American League, Tyler Anderson, Corbin Burns, Emmanuel Clase, Garrett Crochet, Logan Gilbert, Clay Holmes, Tanner Houck, Seth Lugo, Mason Miller, Cole Raggins, Tariq Scoble, and Curry Yates. Tarek, sorry. And 7 are appearing for the first time in the All-Star game.
I told you about this.
Wrong.
But you don't realize how few people actually make the All-Star game. So how much a big deal it is that Kirk Gibson, who we see as a legend, not only just from the Dodgers, but he was a World Series hero for the Tigers when he played with Bill.
Yes, yeah.
He never made, and he was an MVP candidate in multiple seasons, never made an All-Star game.
That's crazy. That is shocking. It's shocking.
And then just as a side, I've heard Seth Lugo's name coming up with the Dodgers as well.
Oh, yeah. So, reserve players in the American League: Salvador Perez for catcher. In the National League, Will Smith of the Dodgers. Infielders, the American League: Carlos Correa, Rafael Devers, Josh Naylor, Isaac Paredes.
Yep, Paredes.
Marcus Semien, and Bobby Witt Jr. In the National League, C.J. Abrams of the Nationals, Pete Alonso, Luis Arraez, Mookie Betts, Ellie De La Cruz, Freddie Freeman, and Ryan McMahon.
Nice. And then just to go back to kind of go back to the beginning. American League starting lineup is going to be Adley Rutschman behind the plate, Vladdy Jr. at first base, Tiny at second, Jose Ramirez will be at third, Gunnar Henderson will be at shortstop. The outfield will be Judge, Kwan, and Soto with Yordan Alvarez as your DH. And then for the National League, William Contreras. Behind the plate, Bryce Harper at first, Ketel Marte at second, Alec Boehm at third, Trey Turner at short, Jurickson Profar, Fernando Tatis Jr., and Christian Yelich in the outfield, and Shohei will be your DH. Now, the one thing that is going to change all that, as we've mentioned along the way, is some of these guys have ended up on the wheel. And thus they don't get to play.
No, and some of these guys wouldn't be playing anyway. But Ramon Laureano of Atlanta, the right fielder, has an oblique injury. Chris Martin of Boston has right elbow soreness.
Did you see where Chris Martin brought out Michael J. Fox to play a song? Oh, sorry, wrong Chris Martin.
That's the Coldplay Chris Martin, not the Boston Chris Martin. Kyle Hendricks of the Chicago Cubs, he is listed as day-to-day. I guess in his last start, he wasn't feeling great as he was after that outing. Yency Almonte of the Cubs, formerly of the Dodgers, had right labrum surgery, and he is out for the season. Cincinnati center fielder Stuart Fairchild has a spine disc injury.
Ooh.
That doesn't sound good. Detroit center fielder Parker Meadows has a right hamstring strain. Yordan Alvarez of the Astros is listed as day-to-day with knee soreness. Jason Hayward of the Dodgers is on the IL with he had a knee contusion when he went up to catch a ball, came down, said his knee didn't feel right, was getting an MRI. Haven't heard the results of that, but he is on the IL. Gleyber Torres is listed as day-to-day with a groin injury. Kyle Schwarber and Bryce Harper were both on the IL, but just in time to play the Dodgers. They're both off of the IL, although Bryce Harper is now listed probably day-to-day because he had a wrist, I guess, like a strained, bruised wrist, got hit with a ball.
So he probably won't play in the All-Star game,
may not.
Just based on that.
Yu Darvish is now listed as on the restricted list, but not sure what's going on. I guess there's maybe some family things going on, so they've just put him on the restricted list. So not sure about that. Julio Rodriguez is day-to-day with quadriceps injury, and Jordan Romano of Toronto, the starting pitcher, underwent arthroscopic surgery on his right elbow, and he will be out for about 6 weeks. And Zach Wheeler is day-to-day with back tightness.
So that'll be a question too about whether he pitches in the All-Star game in any, part of it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't give the reserved outfielders, so I want to do that
Oh yeah,
real quick.
let's do that.
American League, Jaron Duran of Boston, Riley Green of Detroit, and Kyle Tucker. And then the
But
National
is
League,
Kyle Tucker still on the IL?
I think he still is.
All
So
right,
that
so
will be
somebody
another.
else will take his spot. Yeah.
And then in the National League, Teoscar Hernandez, Jackson Merrill of San Diego, Ramos.
Yeah.
Can't speak today, and Brian Reynolds of Pittsburgh. And then
good.
reserve DH AL David Fry of Cleveland and Marcell Ozuna in the National League from the Braves.
All right. Before we look at any more of the All-Star game stuff, because that's the biggest thing we're doing. We know all of the starters. We know the reserves. We know there'll be some changes and new names thrown in there.
Yep.
To fix that. And then we know more now about the Home Run Derby. So we want to get to that. But before we do that, this is something that we talked about maybe last season before. And that is Tampa Bay Rays player Wander Franco.
Yeah.
And he was accused of some, I don't remember the best way, but sexual abuse, sexual exploitation against a minor. And we know there was at least one. Then there was word there were 2 or 3, and we were wondering what was going on. Dominican Republic finally they announced, and it was put out there that he is formally charged with those same sexual abuse and sexual exploitation against a minor. So, as we all expected, he's probably done forever with baseball.
Yeah, and he has been, MLB has put him on removed him from administrative leave because he'd been on administrative leave this whole time, and they placed him on the restricted list. So it does restrict him from receiving payments or accumulating service time when he's not with the team. And that's the same thing, I mentioned too, Yu Darvish is on the restricted list. Obviously something totally different. I'm not sure what's going on there. Nothing to do with this, but when you're on the restricted list, you don't get paid, you don't accrue service time.
The Angels did that with Max Stassi last year.
Right.
Even though we know that Max Stassi really had a very severe, family issue that he had to take care of. They ended up putting him on a restricted list and saved that salary. So that we're waiting to hear about Julio Urias, and if anything will ever be done there. We know no charges were in, or no felony charges. And I haven't heard what he's doing, but he's probably not coming back anytime soon either. He'll get probably a pretty lengthy suspension, and Wander Franco is probably going to get a ban. I would almost bet on it.
Yeah, I would too, and I think Julio definitely is going to be a suspension. This would be his second offense.
Right, the only one to ever do that. Not that that's what you want to be known for.
No.
All right. So let's talk about Home Run Derby,
okay.
Which we've been wondering about. We're going to be there. And all that we knew was that Gunnar Henderson was going to be part of it. And then who else? It was Gunnar Henderson.
Alec Bohm.
And we're like, okay, well, Gunnar, I get. Alec Bohm, I wasn't so sure of. And then things started happening once we got, there were a couple more before the All-Star teams were announced and the reserves. But now that everybody's been announced, some of these guys know they're going to be there. So who's it? Who's up? Who's on?
So the 8 that will be participating, as you mentioned, Gunnar Henderson, Alec Bohm, Pete Alonso will be back, Bobby Witt Jr., Marcell Ozuna, Adolis Garcia, Teoscar Hernandez, and Jose Ramirez.
Nice. I was wondering. I hadn't heard about Teoscar, so I was hoping he was going to get it because I knew he really wanted to.
Yeah, he was just waiting, and I didn't know. I always thought it sounded like they were like, "Yeah, I'm going to do it," but you're invited, which you told me, which I was like, "Really?" They
Yeah.
don't just say that they're going to do it. You have to be invited to the Home Run Derby.
So they are. And so there you go. So that's what we're going to watch. It's a little bit different this year. Instead, in the past, they used to kind of do the same thing, but you end up going. Last year, you were 2 players go head to head. Whoever won moves to the next one.
Mhm.
Well, now they're cutting some time back so that you can get potentially more home runs. But what matters is that in the first round, all 8 guys are going to hit, and the top 4 will move on. So you
Yeah.
want to hit as many as you possibly can, not just enough to beat the other guy, but to beat 7 other guys potentially.
Yes. And the tie is broken by the longest home run in the first round. So if there happens to be a tie, but yeah, you're right. It's going to be you're against everyone, not just head to head.
And then once you get further along, then it breaks down to but for the beginning, that it's a little shorter time. That it's quantity and quality, because it's like set up to hit as many home runs as you can and get as many long home runs as you can.
Right. Yeah. So in the semifinals, it's bracket style. So it's 3 versus 2 and 4 versus 1. It's based on first round home run totals. In the final, of course, the top 2 will face off. Now, for the rules, in the first round and in the semifinals, it's a 3-minute round, 40 pitches, which before it was just however many, they were just throwing as many as they could get out there. The hitter gets 1 timeout. There are 3 bonus outs. Every swing is a home run or an out, and a 420-foot home run in the bonus earns a 4th bonus. In the finals, it's 2 minutes, 27 pitches, 1 timeout, and the same bonus rules apply. So it'll be exciting to see how this format works out. I think people seem excited about it, that it's not going to be so frantic.
Right. And you're not gonna see these guys get gassed so early that they can do. So by the end, you're still getting quality at bats.
Exactly. Yeah. Right.
Which is more than we can say for some of these guys during the regular season. And right now, anybody that stands out that you think for a favorite, who called the Home Run Derby?
As much as I love Teoscar Hernandez, I really think it would be really cool to see Adolis Garcia win it in Arlington.
That's who I think. I think he's going to be, because he feeds off of that.
Yeah.
His hometown crowd, I wouldn't be surprised to see. So that's who I'm picking. If this was the betting sponsored part of our show.
Yes, we're both going.
Our wagers are on.
Our wagers are on Adolis Garcia. Alec Boehm, just as an aside, the last time he said he participated in a home run derby type situation type thing was when he played college summer league ball when he was in college, and he won it. So he said that the Players Association called him up and said, "Hey, do you want to do it?" And he said, "I'm not going to say no." So he's excited. It'll be fun.
He seems to be the lightest hitting of the group.
Right.
I feel like he's going to have a similar run like Mookie did, where he can hit home runs, but he's not really a home run hitter.
I do know that Teoscar Hernandez will have Dino Ebel as his pitcher. Yeah.
Nice. All right. So before we get to wrap things up so that we can finish our prep, get our travel stuff together, and just something to think about while we're there, we'll probably have our T-shirts on. We also have Jana, you have a blue jersey.
Yes.
I have a red jersey. This is Sibling Rivalry on it. And I'm planning to take mine.
Me
along
too.
with my T-shirt. So look for us Monday or Tuesday around Arlington, around the grill or around the Fan Fest area. And we'll be that, and we'd love to meet anybody that's actually a listener and might be in the area. We would love to meet you.
We'll love to meet you and have a little, pass out some stickers while we're there.
Oh yeah, okay, that's right. You mentioned we have some stickers left, so we'll get that, and hopefully we'll see you there. So before we close up, we've put it off for a couple weeks now. The AllSTar, AllSTar stuff. There's AllSTar jerseys. There's AllSTar hats. There's HomeRun Derby stuff. But what we've seen is that there's just something. It's something weird the way they decided to style them. But the American League colors are very odd to me compared to the National League. And, so think about that when you're at home, you normally wear, with the exception of the alternate jerseys and things, normally the home team wears white, the away team wears gray. So the National League, being the away team, is wearing darker colors and lighter colors for the American League. But I'm not sure who decided the color scheme.
I don't know either. I know that the jerseys were inspired by Texas's Western heritage.
So it's dusty.
Maybe that's what it is, but
like tumbleweeds on it or something.
Yeah, that would be good. The typography and the graphics have the Lone Star vibe, the Western, like the lettering. And for the American League, as you mentioned, it's sandy. It's a sandy base along with red sleeves and lettering. And then the National League, which is, I think it looks good, is the navy blue base with light blue sleeves and lettering.
Yes.
And the hats for the National, the National League looks a lot better.
Yes.
So I'm not sure why they went with a sandy base. Why didn't they just go with white? Because if they're going with the Texas vibe, it's red, white, and blue.
Through West Texas. How many times? It's nothing but sand. It's beige.
Is beige.
Texas, until you get to the east part of the state,
that's
Texas
true.
is beige.
Yeah, that's right. It is. It is beige.
The problem is you get that beige, a lot of the colors don't go. I'm looking right now at some of this stuff, and like they've got the Yankees hat. So it's got red on the bill and on the back part. The front panel is the beige. It's got the star. It's got two lines. One line is red. One line is blue. That's kind of like, I guess that's Texas Rangers with their powder blues, I guess. And then the New York, instead of white, is a baby blue or a powder blue. It just doesn't look good.
It doesn't. The American League, it doesn't look good. And the red is not really.
It's dusty red?
I don't even know that you could really call it red. It looks.
It's kind of orangey even.
Orangey red. Orange red. Like that's what crayons.
The color looks like you would see like in antique stores. And when you look like you're watching a Western and, they go into somebody with like a parlor and they're sitting there and that color could have been part of that mix.
Yeah.
The National League hats have blue, and it's not a blue. It's more like a
it's more like turquoise. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they have that. So the National League sleeves are turquoise with the red piping around the edge of the sleeve, and the American League's the opposite with that turquoise. I'm not sure who came up with this. Is it like supposed to be like leather, like dusty vibes.
I think, now I
saddle.
do see, and on the side of the hat is kind of cool with the All-Star game in the state of Texas. I do see a hat like there's a Yankees hat that as I'm looking through, and it has a white front panel, says All-Star game on the side, and it has the Yankees colors.
Yeah, that one looks good.
That one looks okay. And honestly, that version looked better than the Dodgers with their regular colors. I think the All-Star stuff looked better in that turquoise than it does with the regular blue, silver, and white. Dodgers.
Yeah, me too. Well, so each jersey features the player's individual team logo on the left sleeve, and then the other sleeve has the All-Star patch. But yeah, I'm guessing somebody at Nike decided that we're going to go with the Western vibe.
Well, somebody from
the good
MLB
guys versus
had to agree.
The Outlaws.
Right.
Well, the National League would be the Outlaws because since they're at home.
There really needs to get back to the point where wearing these like during wearing these kind of jerseys, during warm-ups or during the Home Run Derby, but they need to go back to the you wear your team's uniform in the game. And then give everybody a different hat. That's a team hat, but let them wear their Dodger, their Pirates, their Rangers, whatever, their home uniforms, their away uniforms, instead of these extras. But I know that's not going to happen because Nike and MLB are in on like a $1 billion plus deal. For this.
Yeah, it's all about that. But the caps you were talking about with the Dodger colors, the Yankee colors, those are the workout day caps. So It's all about money because you got the workout day caps, you got the All-Star officially the hats that they'll wear during the game. So
you're going to win you're going to buy 3 caps if you're a huge fan.
Yeah.
A couple of jerseys, maybe T-shirts. The T-shirts looks kind of cool that I've been looking at.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right, and then they have a cap that's in Rangers blue that has All-Star game on the front. The T on the side it says Texas Rangers, and that's just for the game itself.
Yeah, and that one looks pretty good, but
Except
maybe
that they put their City Connect thing on one side.
Oh, they did. Yeah, we don't want that.
They did like the old Texas Rangers, 2 of the old Texas Rangers logos on the back, and then they also put the new City Connect on there, and then their standard T. So
it's not just an All-Star game hat.
Right.
I don't know. We'll let you know how they look in person.
Yeah, we'll be posting that during the game, before, after, all of that, so that you can have a look. And of course, check it out on TV. It's all on Fox. ESPN has the Home Run Derby on Monday, and then Fox will have the All-Star game itself on Tuesday. And like I said, we'll be posting stuff, and maybe even do a couple little videos or something like that if we're so inclined.
Yeah. We're not doing a TikTok dance, but we'll do some videos. Or do you have a dance ready? You look disappointed.
No, I was just agreeing. No TikTok dances. I'm not even sure what TikTok is.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah.
That's what the sound the clock makes, as far as I know. And that's an old clock. And that will do it for this week's Sibling Rivalry Baseball Podcast. We're parking the All-Star game painted bullpen cart, covering it up, and maybe somebody will come and paint it for us while we're gone. Trade deadline paint. I don't know what that is.
I don't know.
On there, when we come back. So like I said, next week we are out of out of pocket next week because we will be in Arlington. Just look for our social media post in any of the places that we tell you about, like Twitter at SiblingRivalryBB without the A.
And on Facebook and Instagram at SiblingRivalryBB with the A.
And then check out our website, SiblingRivalryBB.com, and check the Fanatics link and all of this stuff that we were just talking about. You can go grab yourself some AllSTar gear and anything else that you might want, and spend as much as you want. Just do it through our link and support the show. We appreciate that. Until we meet again, and we are able to spend a little time talking about the AllSTar game and any games over this last week. We wish you a great couple weeks here. We wish you a lot of great baseball, and maybe we'll see you in Arlington if you happen to be around there. If not, enjoy the AllSTar game and just enjoy baseball. There's too much going on in the world to not find something cool to enjoy. So enjoy some live baseball, enjoy the AllSTar game, and don't forget to swing away.